Alrighty, welcome back here to Average Joe Mechanic. And what we have today, once again, is the 2000 Chevy S10, the LS model. And this video is a caveat to my last video where I talked about how to replace the ABS sensor in the passenger side wheel. Alright, now when I replaced that sensor in that passenger side wheel, in that video, the light did go off on my test drive. But on the way back, the light came back on. So when that light came back on and stayed on, it let me know that there was some of the issues with my ABS system that I need to come back and do a troubleshoot on. So when I came back here, I did a few cheap fixes to get that ABS light to go off, and I'm going to tell you the best and most cheap way to get that light to go off and stay off once your wheel sensors are good to go. Okay, so once you have 2 good wheel sensors in, this method right here, it's about 4 steps, and it will make sure that that light goes off and stays off for your ABS and your brake light. All right, number 1. A lot of videos are going to tell you to go ahead and take this ABS module off, control module, take it off and cut it open and resolder it and all that good stuff. That will be a last method if this does not work for you. Okay, it will be a last method if this does not work for you. Okay, what I am going to tell you is that I took this off. I had to remove this. I used a T9 socket here, or a torque heads, to get these screws out. And once I got my T9 and got these all broken loose and removed, you'll have enough play to pick this up off the connectors here, lift it up off and move it to the side and get these 1, you'll have 2, and you'll have 3. So on this corner here you have 1, on this corner you have 2, and over here, this wire here is your 3rd connector for this ABS control module. And once you disconnect those, it's real simple to disconnect them. You don't need a how to do on that. Once you look at it, you'll see that it's very simple to disconnect those. Okay. But again, once you get these screws out, don't be afraid to pick this up and move it, because you can get these screws out. You get enough play to move it over here and get those connections disconnected. Okay, that was my step 1. And when I got it disconnected, I took some of this electro cleaner here, and I sprayed the entire base down, and took me some steel wool, and I took my steel wool and did some scrubbing in there, and steel wool 004 is what you want to use. The steel wool 004, real fine, and it won't scratch anything on here. It'll just remove all the dirt and debris that's on there. Okay. Once I use my steel wool 000, it's 4 zeros. I took the control module, I turned it upside down to where I can just see the holes where these connectors go. That's on the base of here, and I sprayed it down as well. I sprayed the entire inside of this thing out. Sprayed the inside on this part, and I sprayed all the connectors inside of here on those connectors to get those clean. And I also clean out the wiring that's down here as well. So I clean out each one of those connecting wires, the connectors that's actually on the module, and underneath here as well. All right. And once I got that done, I reconnected it, and that was good to go there. That was step 1. Once again, remove the module, clean underneath here, and clean the module itself with this electro cleaner. Okay. All right. That was step 1. Step 2. What people don't realize is that you have a ABS control module, but you also have an ABS fuse inside this box. Okay, so inside your fuse and relay box, there is a ABS fuse here. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up here and show you real quickly. Take this off, slide this out. Real simple. And I don't think you can see it here, but in that upper left-hand corner, the 2nd fuse in, that is the ABS fuse. I can't get in there and see it, but that is the ABS fuse. It's not focusing very well, but that's your ABS fuse. Right here you have a 60-watt fuse, which is the only 60-watt fuse in there. That is your ABS fuse right there. That's the ABS fuse. So I went ahead and pulled that fuse out and replaced it. And to show you right here, this is the old fuse that was already in there. So this is the fuse that I replaced. And you can see here, I don't know if that's burnt or anything like that, but I went ahead and replaced it. I didn't want to take a chance on it not being good or being good. So I went ahead and replaced this fuse. This fuse costs about, I'm going to say about $389 for this one fuse by itself. And it didn't look too bad, but once again, I see some like in the corners here where it may look a little burnt and whatnot here. And on this side as well, it may look a little burnt. And it may be a good fuse, but I don't know if it was good or not. I didn't test the fuse myself, but I'm just telling you a quick fix on what I did. So I went ahead and replaced that fuse. It was cheap to get that fuse done and put it back in. All right. Go go ahead and get this reconnected here. And this was step 2. Step 2 was I replaced the fuse, and I moved on to step 3. And step 3 is, if you look at my vehicle here, I got a cold air intake system put on here. And on your vehicle, you may not have this cold air intake system, because on this side, you're going to have the air filter box. There's going to be an air filter box that sits right here. You have to move that box out of the way so you can find these ground wires. Now, over here, I'm going to go in here, so hopefully you can see here. If you look down in here, you can see some screws here. You may be able to see them shining there. There's 2 screws right there. Those 2 screws are your ground screws. Okay, let me see if I can get my hand in there and point them out to you here. There, you can see them really good now. Those 2 silver screws there, those are your ground screws. You have to remove those screws and clean them up, and also clean up the wiring that's connected to those screws. Okay, now over here, I went ahead and replaced those screws. This is what I took out. And you can see how these are grounding screws that are all corroded up. And I could have cleaned these up and put them back in, but I didn't want to do that. I went ahead and replaced them since I already got them, pretty simple to get them out. Also, to replace those screws, I used these right here. This is what I used to replace those grounding screws. You buy a pack of these license plate kit screws, 1/4, 20 by 5/8, and they come with 4 screws in it. And it says quantity 8, but it's only 4 screws in the box. But it comes with those other 4 white pieces over there. But I didn't use them white pieces. I just used the screws. But yeah, this is what you need to do to replace that cheaply. This box of screws cost about $2, about $2.35 at the AutoZone. Okay. Now, I replaced these two screws on this side after I cleaned up all the wiring and stuff. You can see them there pretty good there now. They're glowing up pretty good there. And I replaced those screws. Now, that's step 3. So once again, step 1, took off the module, clean it out, and clean up the connection. Step 2 was take this fuse box off and replace that fuse inside the box, the ABS fuse. And then step 3, I came over here and I disconnected the ground wires, cleaned them off, and replaced the screws with some uncorroded screws. And I put some corrosion cleaner on that as well, so that doesn't happen again too soon. Now, step 4 is the step that most people don't even know exists. Okay, I'm going to go on this side over here. And you might not even be able to see it. But down in here, you can see the 1 screw right there on the top sticking up there. Down here on the battery side, there are 2 screws. There's 2 grounding wires as well on this side. And you can probably see them right there. There's one right there. And I can't even get my hand in the point it out to you. But it's right there. That screw right there. There's 2 back to back right in here. There are 2 grounding wires underneath the battery. And what's going to have to happen is you're going to have to remove the battery and remove the battery plate so you can get to them. Now, when I removed that battery plate and got down in there, what I did was I discovered that there was a wire, that this was inside of there connected to the grounding wire, and it's a dead end. So this was all down in there connected to the bolt. So I had to take this out and then do some cleaning as well. But yes, down inside of here, down in here, underneath the battery, and I know you can see that there, and it's a little better. There's some bolts there, 2 of them. There's one right there, you can see it on the top end here. That's on the negative battery terminal, and on the bottom one, there's the positive battery terminal. Okay, so once again, remove the battery, remove the battery, the bottom plate to hold it in place, and then get those cleaned up as well. Now, when I took those screws out, let me go over here once again. On that side, this is what I found. So in conjunction with that wire, that dead wire, these all, look at how corroded these are. These are all corroded up here. I didn't want to reuse those. So once again, with this 4-pack of screws here, same size, it matches exactly the size of that. So I took these here, replaced them all out. And when I cranked the vehicle up, the ABS light was on. It went off, and I went on about an hour and a half test drive, and the ABS light did not come back on. All right, the ABS light stayed off, and I'm gonna crank it up here and see if that light stays off, so you can see that it was actually. ABS light goes off, brake lights goes off. And there you go. That light's going to flash, and then that's the seatbelt light. But as you can see, no lights are on in the dash here. No lights are on. That's just going to flash until I hook up the seat belt. But that is it. That's it in a nutshell. That's all I had to do. I went ahead and I got all that done. Got it all cleaned out. And once again, step one, I took off the ABS control module, cleaned it out, cleaned off the base surface as well, cleaned out the connecting wires and the connections on the actual module box. Cleaned that out. It didn't cost anything. This bottle of a cleaner here was about I think $5 for this bottle of cleaner here. Got that done. Hey, Bob. And I also took off this this fuse box here, changed the fuse underneath this fuse box here, and went down in here, found my ground wires, cleaned off all my ground wires, and reconnected those ground wires on this side. And on the other side, the battery side, I removed the battery and went down inside of here and replaced the ground wires in there as well and cleaned them up as well. All right, that's all I got. Like, share, subscribe.